Ohio State should continue scheduling non-conference games against power conference teams. Those matchups still matter.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Hump Day edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now, the number one sports podcast network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, and delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The winter games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with a bet on FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. During today's show, we will discuss an easy way for Tony Petitti to boost the non-conference slate for every team in the Big Ten Conference, as well as why Ryan Day must continue to pave his own path. But first, there's been a lot of people talking about Alabama canceling the home-and-home series with Ohio State. That's a series that a lot of people have been looking forward to being played because you rarely get these two powers in the sport to play in the regular season. And so it's something that I'm looking forward to. I hope it still stays on the schedule. And I hope it still stays on the schedule because non-conference games against power conference teams, they still matter. They're very, very important, not only for the regular season and testing yourselves, but also for helping you prepare for the college football playoff. I don't believe that non-conference games against power conference teams should ever go away from Ohio State's schedule. And yes, there are some teams around the country that are removing power conference games from the non-conference slate because they want it to be easier. They want it to be a smoother ride in the non-conference schedule so that they can make sure they get 3 easy wins to make themselves look better and to have a stronger resume where the committee is trying to figure out who is going to be in the 12-team playoff at the end of the day. And I understand why they make those decisions. I just don't agree with them. I mean, last year we were discussing on the Big Ten Squad show, kind of getting on Kurt Cignetti for ripping and taking away, not ripping teams, but he took a Virginia Tech series away, a game against Louisville away. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? Those are valuable gains, and those could be easy wins and resume boosters for your strength of schedule, for your strength of record, and all the metrics they use to put the teams in the playoff. That could be very, very valuable for your team, but you're taking it away. Your schedule's weaker. Your team isn't getting tested in the non-conference. You're not testing your own coaching to see if your coaches are up to task and they're the right guys for the job. You're not getting any true tests in the non-conference slate, and that's not good. I mean, Ohio State's non-conference slate, they've scheduled some pretty big opponents over the next 10 years, literally. They have the back half of their home-and-home series with Texas this year. That game's going to be kicked off on September 12th. They have a home series with Alabama still on the schedule in 2027 and 2028. They have a non-conference game against Navy in 2029. They have a home series with Georgia in 2030 and 2031. And then a home series with Boston College in 2035 and 2036. Now, the Navy and the Boston College games, those aren't like the Georgia or the Texas or the Alabama, but those are still very, very important. Navy plays a different style. They are very disciplined, and they make you play ultra focused the entire time because if you miss a read or if you miss a key, it could be a touchdown. You could get embarrassed, and so that game's important. Boston College, the same thing. Boston College is not a power in the sport, but it's a power conference team that has players that are worthy of playing at that level, and it's going to provide a challenge for the Buckeyes. And I am looking forward to this still happening, and I truly hope that this doesn't go away. I hope Ryan Day does not fall into the trap or the peer pressure of all the coaches around the country that look out there and see other people taking teams off, and they're going to do the same thing. Absolutely not. Don't do it. Don't do it, Ryan Day. Continue to make these games, put them on your schedule. I mean, I would be a big fan of Ohio State having a home with Miami, a home with LSU, a home with Florida. I would absolutely love it. Get Arkansas in there, get a Texas Tech in there, get a Texas A&M in there. I would absolutely love Clemson. I mean, I know Ohio State won in 2020, but some of y'all want the lick back for the 31-0 loss. Some people want their lick back for the loss in 2019 because y'all still not over it. And I understand why, because literally, if it was a different move by Olave or a different throw in a different direction by Justin Fields, Ohio State in 2019, it would have been Buckeyes versus LSU in the national championship. And Ryan Day's first year as a head coach. Oh my gosh. That would have been a game. That would have been a game, man. So I know some of y'all still want their lick back for Clemson because some people think Ohio State would have beaten LSU in the national championship. I don't know where I stand. I haven't really put much thought into it recently, but I would love it. I would love some home and home series. Give me one against Cal. I know that they played about almost 15 years ago now, 12 to 15 years ago. I know they had a home series at one point. Bring it back. Bring that thing back. I would absolutely love to have those things happen because they're great for the sport. They're great for fans. They're great for your teams. Think about 2021. And this is something I think about a lot when thinking about removing the non-conference games against power conference teams. In 2021, Oregon came to town. It was a week 2 game. CJ Stroud's second start. And Ohio State was coming off a game against Minnesota. So you open the season against a Big Ten team. You have a week 2 non-conference game against a Pac-12 team. And the Buckeyes lose. As I heard Zach Herbstreit recently say on his show, the Buckeyes got off physical that day. And then Ryan Day made a coaching change. They moved Kerry Coombs to be the defensive coordinator. Matt Barnes was the DC. And that's a move that I don't think would have been made if you're playing a Ball State, a Kent State, a Youngstown State in week 2 after a game against Minnesota. Maybe it was still made, but it would have been made in the season, and it could have been too little too late. And so I do think when you think about some of these non-conference games against power conference teams, some of it you're thinking about your resume and what happens if we lose. Is it going to be a bad problem? Will we be able to overcome that loss? Will we still get into the playoff? But think about what it means for the coaches, because coaches have to prove themselves too. When Ohio State goes to Texas in week 2, and Matt Patricia, I hope, is still with the Buckeyes. Arthur Smith will be his second game coaching Ohio State as the OC. Think about what is going to happen and what it means for the players. It's your first real test. It's your first test. Real test. Ball State's a test, but Ball State's not Texas. Ball State's not Iowa. Ball State's not Nebraska. They're not Michigan. Ball State's none of that. So Ball State's coming to town. They're going to get a check. They're going to go back with an L, a big fat L. Going to Austin, Texas is different. Sark's a really good coach. Sark is a top 10 coach in college football. I'll give him that honor. I'm not really thinking that he's not. If you do, I would like to know why and who's ahead of him. Because I think Sark is a phenomenal coach. He has Texas in a great spot right now. And honestly, they could contend for a national championship, if not next year. Over the next 3 to 5 years, I do think with Sark leading the ship, they will be competing for national championships in back-to-back seasons. But when you think about that game, the coaches have to bring it too. They have to make sure their game plan is spot on, that your game plan is correct. They have to make sure that everything that they've done leading into the game was correct, because if it's not, it will get exposed that day when the Buckeyes and Longhorns finish playing their home and home series. I hope they don't cancel it. I really hope they don't, because it's even going to be a benefit for Texas. Alabama, I understand it. They are in a weird spot right now. Maybe Kalen DeBoer is truly under fire for what's happened over his first couple of years leading the Crimson Tide. It's not an animal that's for everybody, especially when you're following a college football Hall of Famer. Let's go a step further. Saban's the best coach ever in the sport. When you're following that man and your team look like it did against Indiana, you are going to be thrown into the hot water. But keep these games. Absolutely keep these games. And as Ryan Day should push to keep these games, he must continue to pave his own path. He's done his own thing throughout his entire time being a college football coach. It's worked out very well. And I think when it comes to schedule, he should continue to pave his own path. This episode is brought to you by Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is the move. Because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria like skills, certifications, and location. If I were hiring, I wouldn't just want someone who can help. I'd want someone with real experience who can jump right in. That's what I like about Indeed. You can get specific and target exactly what you need. It saves time because you're spending less energy sorting through mismatches. And with Indeed sponsored jobs, your posts get seen by candidates who are actually a fit. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at indeed.com/podcast. That's indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. This episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The winter games are officially here, and if you're anything like us, you're locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. And that's why following the winter games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care about most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. The drama of curling, matches that start slow and somehow get intense fast, speed skating, races decided by inches, hockey games that feel different right from the opening face-off. FanDuel keeps the entire Olympic experience engaging from start to finish. The Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. You'll be able to get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Buckeyes, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. Go to lockedonbuckeyes.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. Ryan Day has done a great job following a Hall of Famer in Urban Meyer of paving his own path. And it's very difficult to pave your own path in college football when you are getting pulled this way and that way and forward and backward. And you can get pulled any which way. Somebody's pulling your arm or someone else is pulling your big toe on your left leg, left foot. And you're thinking, why in the world am I feeling like this? Well, that's how crazy this sport is right now. And I'm sure they got to talk to judges and lawyers and business owners and small business owners and large corporations. And you just got to talk to everybody, along with the moms and the dads and the guardians of the athletes you're trying to recruit, as well as the high school coaches, as well as the own coaches on your coaching staff. I mean, I could go on and on and on about the people that Ryan Day has to talk to make sure the job is done correctly. And following Urban Meyer wasn't easy. Keeping Ohio State at this level isn't easy. And Ryan Day's done it to the beat of his own drum. He hasn't listened to anybody else. He's followed his own path. And that needs to continue with the schedule. This show is all about the schedule and why Ohio State needs to continue to schedule power conference teams in their non-conference slate. Even if Ohio State is happening to be a team that's in a conference, happens to be a team in the conference that decides to go to 10 games, I would push back in a strong way if the Big Ten moves to a 10-game conference slate. I know the conference is big, but my goodness, 10 games? No. Once again, let's use another analogy or comparison to other leagues. Is there ever a league that would play, oh my goodness, it's over 90% of your schedule that's with teams in your division or let's say your conference? Is there anywhere in sports that happens? No. The fact that in college football, 9 of your 12 teams in your conference, 9 of your 12 games are played against teams in your conference, I understand it. I get it. But my goodness, can we just start making things more normal in college football? Would it be that hard? I mean, we're getting closer to a place where the power conference power conferences split off and do something different from the CSC, from the NCAA, from all of the entities that have their hands as far as in governing the sport, they're going to do their own thing. And I would be very happy. I'm not against the NCAA is not a perfect company. It's not a perfect unit, but what unit is perfect? Every unit has problems. A lot of families have problems. A lot of individuals have problems. Not problems that they bring on themselves. Sometimes they're thrown at them. They got problems. It's a part of life. But I do think if you get a commissioner, the sport would be a whole lot healthier. The Buckeyes are in a very great spot right now. The most recession-proof program in college football is being led by a man that's not following with the wind. I surely hope Brian Day does not do what his peers are doing and start canceling some of these big games. It's only going to hurt the team. I mean, down the road, let's say Ohio State has a schedule like they had this past year, where in the preseason leading up to the 2025 season, we had numerous shows talking about a stretch where the Buckeyes played 3 road games in 4 weeks. At Washington, home against Minnesota, at Illinois, at Wisconsin. That was a stretch where we were thinking, on paper, this is difficult. And then you realize Washington has a lot of injuries. Even though playing there is very difficult, they had a lot of injuries. Minnesota was not good. Illinois was not as good as advertised. And Wisconsin was banged up offensively. They were playing their third-string quarterback. Okay, not that great. After that, Penn State has an interim head coach and a backup quarterback. UCLA has an interim head coach. Purdue has a first-year head coach, and Purdue was garbage. And Michigan had a coach that was not doing the things he should have been doing. So I went through that on purpose because you see, like, in the games, things weren't going well. If you take away some tough non-conference games, you're not tested by anybody. You think about this past year, if Ohio State didn't play Texas and they played a Youngstown State, or they played they would never play Dayton. That would never happen. Dayton came into my head because I was recently looking at something locally, and a kid locally had played basketball at Dayton, and so I was like, "Oh, Dayton! Oh, no, nah, don't do that. That'd be embarrassing. That would be an embarrassment. Don't do that at all." Ryan Day, keep doing your own thing. Keep doing your own thing. I would push any coach to pave their own path, do their own thing, follow the beat to their own drum. Don't follow and do what everybody else is doing. Stick to what got you to where you currently are. Keep these games on the schedule. It's an easy thing. It's a no-brainer. Just like a move Tony Petitti can make to make the Big Ten slate for every team in the Big Ten football conference a whole lot stronger. I can't let the idea out the bag. That's coming at you quick, fast, and in a hurry after the break.
I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Dawn Staley and South Carolina remain on top of the SEC standings after handing Tennessee their worst defeat in program history with a final score of 93-40. In the 43-point win, South Carolina shot 69% from the field. Tessa Johnson had a perfect shooting night, scoring 24 points, shooting 4 for 4 from the floor, including 2 threes, and made all 4 of her free throws. And UCLA remains undefeated in Big Ten play, topping Michigan 69-66 as Player of the Year contender Lauren Betts put up a double-double, scoring 16 points, collecting 16 rebounds, and adding 5 assists and 3 blocks. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts the same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Thank you for tapping in Locked On Buckeyes and for making this show a part of your day, guys. There's another show coming at you in the midday in a quick reaction to something Ross Bjork said during his sit-down interview, 45-minute interview with the 11 Warriors, where he talked about something that's very pertinent to Ohio State's basketball game tonight against USC. Can't let that out the bag yet. Tap into the midday show where we talk a little Buckeye basketball before the Buckeyes battle with the Trojans on the hardwood tonight. It's a 6:30 p.m. tip on the Big Ten Network. And the 6:30 p.m. tip is great. Also, what would be great is bringing back an old favorite from the hardwood. Now, I grew up, and many of you did, with the Big Ten ACC Challenge. You knew in the non-conference slate, probably I believe it was in December, you would get a North Carolina versus an Ohio State. You would get a Duke versus an Illinois. You would get a Virginia against a Michigan State. You would get fill in the blank school against a team in the Big Ten. And it was a great way to test what you're truly made of against, at the time, the ACC was the best conference in college basketball. And the Big Ten was a strong basketball conference, but they haven't won a national championship in 26 years, coming up on 26 years. Michigan State won it in the RCA Dome. They beat Florida in the 2000 Final Four. That's how long ago it was. And so when it's been that long, it's hard to believe. It's hard to maybe wrap your head around it, but it was fun. That was a great moment. Plus, I think college basketball was bigger at the time. The regular season was a lot bigger than it currently is, or a lot of you right now that are simply just now tapping into Buckeye basketball because the season was so long in for the Buckeye football team, and then you're trying to focus on the NFL and the Super Bowl and trying to mix in some of your own your favorite NBA team into your mix. And so many of you are just not getting into Buckeye basketball, and you're thinking, man, it's just crazy. This team isn't good. Well, part of it is talent, but also Tony Petitti could just make this thing a whole lot easier in football. I don't know why he went so long on basketball. Bring the Big Ten ACC Challenge back to football, or bring it to football. Words are not flowing correctly right now. Bring it to football. There we go. Bring this to football. It would be so easy. The ACC has 17 plus one members, 17 full-time members, and Notre Dame plays a wannabe schedule where they play 5 ACC teams every single year. If you do a Big Ten ACC Challenge, you'd want an agreement from Notre Dame to be in this. And if Notre Dame says we're only going to play our rivals, cool. Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, and USC are their rivals. It would be able to bring back the USC Notre Dame rivalry that is going away, which I don't like. I love the tradition. I love the rivalry. Why get rid of it? Oh, because USC does some weird things. No, bring it back. Bring it back. Cool. Keep it going. But also, I would love to have Ohio State play a home and home with Miami, or a home and home with Clemson, or a home and home with Florida State, even a Louisville, or a North Carolina, or a Syracuse. Places Ohio State rarely goes. I would absolutely love to have a home and home series. And maybe we play the game all the time. I play college football. I'm in, year 6 or 7 in a dynasty right now with the Buckeyes. And I used to start a dynasty when they updated the rosters, but that came so frequent at times. I said, nah, I'm going to keep on rolling with it. And in the non-conference, I always try to get some tough games because I don't want to keep playing the FCS whoever, or eventually we'll play with North Dakota State. I love that where they play, but goodness gracious. Oh man, I would do that. I would absolutely play them. It would be pretty easy, not gonna lie, because they're new to this level, but do this. Make this happen, Tony Petitti. If there's anything he can do to kind of make his image better and bring an old favorite from Big Ten basketball fans, allow that to be something that is played in football. Ooh, and think about the networks, man. It won't be a bidding war. It'll be the draft will be pretty heated when they draft what network is going to have each game. Fox, FS1, the Big Ten Network, CBS, NBC. You also have the Peacock who's going to get involved. ESPN, ABC, the CW, TNT. All of those networks are trying to get their hands in who's got Ohio State, Clemson. Okay, Ohio State's home. Clemson's an East Coast team. We can get by with doing the big noon here. But maybe with the way the weekend works is another big game, and Fox wants that. It's that I don't know why you would want that over Ohio State, Clemson. I truly don't. But CBS or NBC can get it. Oh, it's a Clemson home game? Prime time on ESPN. It can't be on the ABC because of the SEC, which that's great with me. I was not trying to rhyme, but there we go. Make it happen. Make it happen. It would be a benefit to the conference because you're allowing every single team to test themselves against a team they would rarely play. They may play them in a bowl game down the road, But that in-season test against a quality opponent, an opponent that matches them, would be great. Now, the easiest way to make this happen and to schedule everything is to line up every team 1 through 17 in the ACC and 1 through 18 in the Big Ten. And then you just match it up. The ACC champ would play the Big Ten champ in the next season. The runner-up will play the run-up in each conference, so on and so forth. Notre Dame would only be scheduled to play their rivals: Purdue, Michigan, Michigan State, and USC. That's it. Just to keep that thing even and to keep it flowing. And then say Purdue has to fall out, you still have them, the other team lined up with whoever that would be, and so it would still be a pretty even matchup. I say fall out because if it's their 2 years to play Notre Dame, they got to play them. Someone has to fill their spot because maybe they finish number 12. Then you got to figure out who's playing the 12th team in the ACC. This is a no-brainer. This is so easy. This would be, to me, and I don't know all the logistics. I don't know if commissioners have already discussed this, or they said, no, we're not doing this. You can sell advertising dollars. I mean, the opportunities are through the roof about how beneficial this would be, not only for the teams, for the conference, for the TV networks, for recruiting. Pick a word. It would fit this conversation as to why it would be great for there to be a Big Ten ACC challenge. I considered the Big 12 and the SEC, but with them both having 16 teams apiece, I didn't want to leave 2 teams out of the Big Ten and leave them out. So I said, no, let's keep it this way. Seemed like a pretty good idea to me. What's your thoughts in the chat? Let us know in the chat if you think there should be a Big Ten ACC challenge in football. I also would be a big fan of bringing back the one in college basketball. I mean, come on now. And that's one where where Notre Dame is a full-time member in basketball. So you could easily go 1 through 18 in both conferences and allow that challenge next year to be just that, a massive challenge. If you can play a strong conference in basketball or in football, then it will help you down the road, maybe in bowl games or in the playoff down the road. And you could just say, hey, we didn't play only Big Ten power conference teams. We had another power conference team from a really good league that helped us fill a void, but also allowed us to start a new tradition. That's what college football is all about, right? Well, not all about, but a lot of it's about the traditions in the sport, the pageantry. That's why a lot of us love the sport. That's why we fell into it. For me, honestly, I fell into it because, I mean, it could be because my favorite color is red. And, I mean, if you look at most of my hats, I'll take this one off. There's a little bit under here for the Valentine's, the Dad Gang collection that I have to my right. But play these games. Just play the games. Find a way to make this happen, Tony Batiti. Find a way to do this. Fox would love it. The coaches might push back, but I think in the long run, they'll see the long-term benefit of playing these games every single year. Thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you never miss an episode, the Everyday Club is built for you. Get Locked On Buckeyes ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonbuckeyes.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make your second listen Locked On College Football. You can follow me on any social media platform or jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. This has been Locked On Buckeyes on a hump day. We'll see you next time.